Good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did you one day wake up and make the conscious decision of your sexuality? Did you make a pro-con list, weigh the benefits, the consequences, and the liking of each gender? Odds are you didn't. And that is because it was not a choice that you made. It was a physiological programming that you were born with. My topic is homosexuality, and my main claim is that homosexuality is a physiological issue rather than a choice. I'm going to prove this to you first by explaining the biological sciences that give scientific evidence that proves this claim. Then I'm going to talk about other cultures that practice homosexuality. And last, I'm going to talk about other animals that are known to be homosexual. So homosexuality is due to several biological factors. So according to Sergei Gavritis, a pneummosis researcher and author, states that the newest research suggests that homosexuality is caused by epigenetic marks, or epimarks, related to the sensitivity in the womb. Now, he explains that epigenetics is the study of heritable changes in gene expression, meaning how our genes are activated. So when abnormal exposure to sex hormones in the womb activate these epimarks that usually determine the sex of the fetus. So if too little testosterone is present in a male fetus, then boys become feminized. And when too little estrogen is present, females become more masculine, thus changing the sexual preference because of the central nervous system, which mediates behavior and psychological responses and can be heavily affected by the level of hormones present. According to Georgia Lawrence, author of The Science of Homosexuality, states that it is possible that a woman's fetus builds up certain antibodies in her first pregnancy. And these affect the development of male fetuses in subsequent pregnancies. For each older brother, humans are believed to be about approximately 33% more likely to be homosexual. And according to Dean Hammer, the chief of Gene Structure and Regulation, conducted research that compared 40 pairs of homosexual brothers and found in 33 of them shared genetic markers on the X chromosome known as the XQ28. This chromosome is one of 2 sex chromosomes and is always inherited by the mother, thus proving some linkage to biological substances. And the next piece of research from Current.com examines the similarities of that in gay men and in straight women. Brain scans were used and revealed that in gay people, key structures of the brain governing emotion, mood, and anxiety and aggressiveness resembled those in straight people of the opposite sex. Specifically, the nucleus of the hypothalamus, which triggers male typical sex behavior, was much smaller in gay men and looked more like that in women. And my last piece of biological research was at Northwestern University and Boston University by Michael Bailey and Richard Pollard. They concluded that 52% of twins shared the same identical twins shared the same sexual preference, thus inferring that there is some biological connection to homosexuality. Okay, now homosexuality has been around as long as people have existed in the earliest of cultures. So if it wasn't a choice, then why would it constantly reappear? People as a whole could simply ban it altogether. And if it was as simple as making a choice, couldn't people make a law banning it and it would fix it? But it's obviously not that simple. Homosexuality was found in ancient Greeks as well as Romans, and it wasn't until the creation of the Bible that Europeans and other cultures became uncomfortable with it. Now, homosexuality is a natural phenomenon in nature. According to newsmedical.net, over 1,500 animal species practice homosexuality. This being said, it is a natural phenomenon, and that there is a large misconception that every living thing is expected to reproduce, and that it is just not the case when you expect the animal and plant kingdom. No species has been found in which homosexual behavior has not been shown to exist, with the exception of species that never have had sex at all, such as sea urchins. According to News Medical, the entire species of dwarf chimpanzees, one of humans' closest relatives, is completely bisexual. And another example would be that male lions mate with one another to create bonds. And my last piece of information is that monkeys that are homosexual are often abused just as humans are. So why would they make the choice to be homosexual when they also are being abused? That's it.
All right, the proposition's very clear. You've got a layout, kind of a roadmap of what the supporting points are going to be, but only the first one is stated as a claim, making an inference. The second and the third ones are labels for points, and you need to tell us what inferences we should be drawing from them. At the end, you kind of suggest what the inference is by asking questions, but we talked about this. That's a lot less clear than making a declarative sentence, and so you need to do that a little bit more on those last 2 points and tell us why that data on animals, for instance, demonstrates that there is in fact a natural form of homosexuality. That seems to be the inference there, and I'm not sure why we don't just have a simple declaration that says that. The signposting on the first point was pretty clear. I thought you dove into the second point without really making it clear that you were changing points, and the same thing with the third point. I mean, I knew the subjects had changed, but I didn't really hear a structural signpost on that. I think that could be a little bit stronger. I thought your first point had the strongest information on it, and you most consistently cited the sources on that information. On the third point, for instance, all the data about animals, I didn't really hear source citations for most of that. I'm not saying that it's not true. I'm just saying that you want to make sure to include that in the presentation. I think you do a pretty good job speaking with your voice, but when I'm watching you, you're doing an awful lot of reading, and I think that undermines your credibility a little bit. All right. Thank you.